It's devastating to go through something like this. It really is.
That is a mother's cry for help. A central Indiana woman is missing. Her husband and children don't know what happened to her.
Police are looking for more information on this man's volunteer service because he may have been molesting children while he was supposed to help them.
And a U.S. senator is killed in a mid-air collision of a plane and helicopter. The wreckage rained down on a school playground this Thursday, April 4th.
Live from the heart of Indiana, Tom Cochran and Ryder. Bob Gregory's exclusive AccuWeather. Don Hein Sports Team with Ronnie Duncan Sports Spotlight. This is News Center 13 Primetime. The news starts now.
A Howard County mother of 4, missing for a month now, is the focus of a new search effort.
Our top story at 5 focuses on Julie Dalton Johnson. This weekend, hundreds will be out looking for her. Her Kokomo area family is making sure the young mother is not forgotten. This is where Julie Dalton Johnson was last seen, her mobile home at the Kokomo Regency Trailer Court in Howard County. Julie, seen here in the missing person poster, disappeared March 1st. The petite, blue-eyed 29-year-old has short, curly, dark brown hair. The last clue to her whereabouts was left on this stretch of Indiana 22, 3 miles east of Kokomo, where her car was found abandoned March 2nd. Julie's mother, Betty Dalton, is spearheading efforts to find out what happened to her daughter.
We've done nothing in 4 weeks but concentrate on finding Julie. We've just been absorbed in that.
Betty Dalton has managed to raise a reward of $5,000 to help find her daughter. She says the mother of 4 young children was in the process of divorcing her husband, Kurt Johnson. Dalton says she's convinced her daughter didn't just run away.
She just wouldn't. Her children were her life, and she would not run off and leave her children like that. And I think probably from what the police know and the evidence that they do have, I really don't think that they think that now.
A neighbor who lives across the street from Julie Johnson's home agrees.
She just didn't seem to me like the type of person that would just up and leave her kids and everything else, because she always had one of them with her. You know, why would any mother just leave her kids?
A huge search is planned for Saturday. Kokomo auto workers and other volunteers will scour the area to satisfy any question Julie may be out there somewhere. They still hope Julie is alive. The search, it's hoped, will rule out more grim possibilities. The Howard County Sheriff's Department says it's treating this as a missing persons case right now. Hints of foul play, if there are any, are not being made public. The search for Julie Johnson will begin Saturday morning at 9. And one other note, while investigating the story, we learned there are a number of agencies that track missing children, but there's no central source for information on missing adults. Last year, 244 missing person reports were filed with the Indiana State Police, but there's no way to determine how many were reported missing to all the city and county police offices. And there's no way to determine how many of those 244 missing person cases are still open.
Well, prosecutors continue to get calls about the activities of a man charged with 35 counts of child molestation. Mike Shue has been keeping up on the details. He joins us from the News Center. Mike?
And with the broadcast last night about the charges filed against Kevin Kirby, prosecutors were expecting to get more information which could lead to additional charges, and they did. The Boy Scout
Kevin Kirby remains jailed tonight. A dozen parents have called the prosecutor about him, wanting to let them know that he was a volunteer with their child's youth group. Interviews with kids are being set up. Kirby volunteered at this church with the youth group. Adults and youth alike have been interviewed, though the church says no molestations are believed to have happened here. For 5 years, Kirby volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House. Spokesman Beth Johnson says that no molestations occurred there and that the children are not allowed to be unsupervised without their parents. Prosecutors say that one 14-year-old boy with muscular dystrophy was molested over 200 times here at Kirby's East Side home. Within the last 15 minutes, the local Muscular Dystrophy Association confirmed that Kirby was a volunteer for them for a number of years and that they do their best to screen persons who are volunteers. They also said that Kirby was given the authority directly by a family to care for their child who was afflicted with muscular dystrophy. Kirby was not a volunteer for the Boy Scouts, but they empathize with the other organizations because they say when you use volunteers, charges like these are always a concern.
My guess is that these situations arose when you and I were kids, but we didn't talk about them, and we have, as a nation, decided to face up to it and deal with it, and it's unfortunate, but it's reality.
The Boy Scouts even have a video that they show to the kids to tell them to recognize, resist, and report abuse.
This is fun.
Yeah.
Just us guys batching it up while your mother's away on a business trip.
The Boy Scouts say that this tape could make you uncomfortable. They say this videotape is for sale for about $15 at their center at 19th and Meridian. And this is also the first year that the Boy Scout handbook has had anything about reporting and recognizing abuse in it.
This is not a comfortable issue, though. Maybe it needs to be dealt with directly. Mike, are the Boy Scouts suggesting that other groups show that tape?
Yeah, they are, because not everybody has the resources that the Boy Scouts have. They say that smaller organizations without the money to make such productions or gather the information, this may be a good way for them to initiate to the youngsters and parents and the volunteers alike what they ought to do about child abuse.
Could be. Thank you, Mike. Well, a 51-year-old Indianapolis man will be sentenced on May 1st after he was found guilty of sexually attacking a toddler. A Marion Superior Court jury found Carol McGuffey guilty of 2 counts of child molesting in connection with the 1989 incident. The chief witness against McGuffey was a 4-year-old girl who took the stand and used a doll to demonstrate the attacks. The child was not allowed to testify in McGuffey's first trial, which ended in a hung jury. She was considered too young. But in late March, Judge John Barney ruled that the child was old enough to be competent to take the witness stand. Jim.
A 17-year-old North Central High School student is accused of attempted murder, and he could stand trial in adult court in the savage attack of his girlfriend. Jordan Weaver faces a number of felony charges in the rampage that began Tuesday night at the Alverna retreat. The incident left Wendy Walderman seriously injured. A witness, 64-year-old Jerome Sweeney, suffered a fatal attack, a heart attack, during the incident. There'll be a hearing in 2 weeks on moving the case to adult court. Weaver also faces confinement, burglary, and resisting arrest charges. Police investigating cases such as that one can be put into the line of fire with no warning. Those shots were fired into a bulletproof vest, the same kind used by many Indiana police officers on duty. But do these really help save lives? We'll look into that question in a few minutes.
Well, a 36-year-old Coatesville man is dead tonight after a morning rush hour accident involving a soft drink truck in Hancock County. It happened around 8 o'clock this morning on Mount Comfort Road, 5 miles north of I-70. Investigators say Douglas Carter of Coatesville was driving his pickup truck southbound on Mount Comfort Road when he crossed the center line and crashed head-on into a soft drink truck. Carter was killed instantly. The other driver, 42-year-old Danny Higgs of Richmond, has only minor cuts and bruises. Well, a fire in Woodruff Place serves as a reminder tonight that a smoke detector without batteries is useless. About 20 residents of an apartment building are burned out of it tonight and in temporary shelters as a result. One resident, 63-year-old Eugene Hamilton, is in serious but stable condition at Wishart. Investigators say the fire was caused by careless smoking in his apartment.
The smoke was just roaring from this door. I kicked the door open. I couldn't get open but probably about a good half a foot, and he was laying behind it. I didn't know it, but the smoke overcome me, so I came back outside, and I went over to the other side of the apartment building and pounded on everybody's door and got them out, and went back in and made sure I got my dog.
Fire officials say the victim was given a battery for his smoke detector yesterday, but he didn't install it. Indianapolis patrolman Ronald Gray and also Lawrence Wheeler are credited with risking their own lives to save the life of Eugene Hamilton. And a little later in the show, we'll have the fire marshal on to tell us what we don't know about smoke detectors, or the message we don't seem to be getting.
Always information you need to hear again and again. Bob Gregory is outside in the weather, kind of a wet day. I guess the price we pay for having the good weather to come in the weekend.
Boy, it is. Well, it's really nice that we're finally getting some moisture so far for the month here, Jim, and what that means, if you've just had your lawn mowed, it's going to be nice and green, and let that spring fertilizer go to work in there, and we should have some warming temperatures, so a lot of plants and flowers are really going to start to germinate and go here as temperatures, well, I'll talk more about that in a moment. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. We've had anywhere from a quarter to a third of an inch of moisture so far for the day, and for the most part, that's gradually going to be ending. Take a look at what our Weather Service radar has to show at the present time. Now, generally, old Bedford, Indianapolis, Anderson, on up toward the Muncie area, most of the concentrated area of showers off to the east now, and then there are other scattered areas of showers or light drizzle That will persist throughout the evening hours here tonight, but by midnight or so, all of this really should be over with and decreasing in intensity. So that is the situation there. A sky cam look out there, just plenty of gray skies, and we'll add to that some fog, because where the clouds will break later on, there will be some fog developing, so be aware of that if you're off for a weekend travel somewhere. But we have light drizzle both at the airport and downtown. Our temperature here at 60 degrees, our humidity at 100%, winds are south at 15, and the pressure, that stands at 30.15 and falling. Want a little spring preview? Well, let's call it a summer preview. Look at this, if you will. By Sunday and over the weekend, temperatures in spots of the country as much as 20 degrees above the normal. So that's not too bad. I'll be back at the half hour, have my complete AccuWeather forecast for your planning, and let you know how long this great weather is going to last. See you inside.
Boy, sounds like a great one. Thanks.
Okay.
Well, a long ordeal is finally over for an underground explorer. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll tell you how an Indianapolis man played a key role in that rescue operation deep inside a cave.
And later, the experts at Consumer Reports will tell you if 2 VCRs are better than 1.
And in sports, the Pacers' Reggie Miller tells us he's disappointed.
Lazarus 14-hour sale has always been, well, big. You can't miss with 10 to 50% savings throughout the store. And let's not forget the extra 30% off selected clearance items. But it just keeps getting bigger and better. Like this Friday, look for our new big one-day-only super specials. Terrific prices on the newest, hottest stuff. Get these solid savings and extra hours to shop at Lazarus ultra-modern 14-hour sale. Friday only.
You can pass it around. You can talk about it. Or you can just do it.
Who was that?
Vote for Virginia Blankenbaker for mayor.
Don't worry, call the Kyrex man.
You know why I came to Kyrex for my muffler? I came for the overzealous expression of gratitude I received.
He came for the service.
I came for the superior expertise that's backed by this documentation.
He came for the lifetime guarantee.
You know why I came to Kyrex? I came for the economic ramifications.
He came for the price.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom. Don't worry, call the Kyrex man.
The price of license plates will increase under a proposal approved by the House Ways and Means Committee. But Democrats say the increase will be temporary and the money will go to education. In a surprise move, Democrats have proposed suspending the auto excise tax cut that went into effect January 1st. Proponents say the move will generate at least $80 million for education. Republicans say the proposal represents a tax hike. Governor Bai at this point has no comment. Jim.
A lot of other people certainly have comment on that one. For Indiana lawmakers, the Indiana State Teachers Association building next door to the State House serves as a reminder of the power of the organization. Linda Ellsroth reports a group of teachers is banking on that power to persuade lawmakers to fund education.
We are the only state in the Midwest that's reducing taxes on the backs of children.
The meeting room at the Indiana State Teachers Association building is packed. Teachers are taking time out from the classroom or vacation to send this message to lawmakers and the governor.
Make education a priority, not with just words or empty promises, but through the budget, fund education properly and prove to the citizens of Indiana that it is a priority.
Dee Schaller and her daughter plan to take a strong message to the State House, too.
When I think about some of the funds being cut, some of the teachers being let go, this is going to affect her education. And I want to be here to see that that doesn't happen.
I'm just one person from a group of students that, you know, have a stand that they want to stand on, and I hope that somehow I can help.
Teachers are briefed on the latest legislative action and are given a pep talk.
We can be extremely powerful when we speak with one voice.
The group's next stop is the State House, where educators, parents, and students will meet with lawmakers face to face. There is open criticism for the governor's plans against raising taxes. Others tell elected officials what's on their minds.
Would you vote for tax increases?
Well, I think a tax increase is nearly impossible because of the governor. I mean, the Senate Democrats tried it. He immediately came out and said he'd veto it.
Where is education going to be 5 years down the road? What kind of long-range plan is Indiana going to make?
I will tell you that I don't know of a plan, but I do know of a court case that's pending, and I believe it's in Newton County, that attacks the question, and it's a class action suit, that attacks the question of school funding in its entirety.
While the group doesn't always get the answer it's looking for, educators say they'll continue to promote their views in person and in writing. Linda Elsroff, News Center 13.
Teachers in Decatur Township are planning a rally at the high school next week to keep the pressure on lawmakers.
Indianapolis will be sending more than 800 athletes to the Scarborough Peace Games this summer. The 19th annual games will have athletes competing in 15 different events, from chess to soccer, August 9th through the 12th in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. The Parks Department organizes the event.
We've had a lot of return customers coming back, but there's a broader community out there, and this is such a great experience, and those folks don't necessarily know about the game. So we just want to kind of expand our horizons this year and get folks involved that have not been involved in the past.
Registration for the games began today, with preliminary competition getting underway later this month.
It looks like they're having a lot of fun there. A lot of fun, too, down Hein in the sports warm-up. What you got for us, Don?
Hey, guys, the Pacers have a great crowd last night for Philadelphia, almost 16,000, and then they stink up the joint. Reggie Miller will talk about that with Ronnie coming up. I also have some highlight reel Sean Kemp and a preview of the Miami Grand Prix, plus Tom Selleck in a real exhibition at bat. Now, how can that be, a real exhibition? A little dichotomy for you there. There will be plenty of dichotomy in the ring tonight. Ronnie's going to be at the Golden Gloves. Right now, he wanted to talk about a guy you haven't seen a whole bunch of this year, a kid by the name of Kenny Williams of the Pacers.
Y'all listen up, listen up.
At a time when most athletes try to shy away from their duties of a role model, the Pacers rookie, Kenny Williams, is jumping at the opportunity to take a real shot at making an impression on today's youth. This afternoon, about 100 youngsters took part in the Kenny Williams Health and Basketball Clinic at Market Square Arena, which was jointly sponsored by the Marion County Health Department, the Action Center, and the Indiana Pacers.
A lot of my friends didn't have the skills that I had to get into a basketball camp. And these kids sitting here, they kind of remind me of the friends I used to hang around that never had a chance to go to any camp.
For Kenny, the purpose of this camp is more than just shooting hoop. It's about health issues, such as teenage pregnancy, drugs, and alcohol. Kenny is just 21 years old himself, perhaps the youngest player in the NBA playing. Therefore, he feels his own personal experience can help these youngsters.
I could be a real big influence on them because there may be some guys over there as old as I am, you know, if not the same age. And like you said, I have a wife and I'm married now. I had a kid when I was a teenager, when she was a teenager. So I think I relate a little better to him than probably most grown-ups would.
Kenny Williams' climb to success wasn't easy. He played just 1 year of college basketball. However, through his hardships, he persevered with pride, and it kept him on the road to achieve his goal.
There's a lot of people out there probably telling some of those kids that, hey, you're not going to make nothing out of your life. You're not going to do anything out of life. And those are the same kinds of things that people told me. But I'm going to bring to the table just to keep pushing on and do your best. Don't ever let anybody tell you what you can or what you can't do. You won't know until you try it. And I tried it, and I'm here.
Hard work pays off, and anything worth having is worth working hard for. These are live shots from the Tyndall Armory, and what a nice piece on Kenny Williams. But we're going to turn away from basketball and talk a little bit about boxing. I'm talking from the School of Hard Knocks. It's the Golden Gloves, and it happens here tonight, the second-round competition, where I have highlights and talk to some of the boxers a little bit later at 11 o'clock. And don't forget, we got an exclusive interview with Reggie Miller. He talks about some of those comments he made and how they were taken out of context. And I'm sure many of us are eager to hear what Reggie has to say.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
You left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
I'm a lefty, and there is some news coming up that affects us lefties. You'll want to stay tuned.
And are Americans doing a better job of watching their cholesterol? We'll have that also in our latest health survey.
Plus, Bob Gregory will tell us about a great AccuWeather forecast for the weekend.
It's big. It's cash. Don't miss your chance. The Lotto Cash Jackpot is $8 million. All at once, only in Indiana.
At the Olive Garden, so much goes into everything we do. That's why you get so much out of it. The Olive Garden Italian restaurant, where all the best of Italy is yours.
In over half the homes in America, people are coming home to Kenmore appliances. And right now, the country's most popular brand of appliance is on sale at Sears Branch Central. If you run right over, you'll save $44 on this matching heavy-duty, large-capacity Kenmore washer-dryer with permanent press cycle. They're on sale now, only at Sears Branch Central.
What does the price of license plates have to do with the state budget debate? I'm Bill Hassan. Find out tonight on the News Center at 6 o'clock.
Attention all-Americans 65 or older on Medicare. Secure Care Medicare Supplement insurance with expanded benefits is now available in your state. Whether you have a Medicare supplement or not, consider the expanded benefits, affordable rates, and personal service of Secure Care. Call 1-800-642-2800. Don't miss this opportunity for free information on Secure Care from National Home Life. Call 1-800-642-2800. 1-800-642-2800 now.
In tonight's Health Matters, can healthier living lower your cholesterol level? Well, a newly released study shows strides are being made in the battle against cholesterol, and it appears Americans are adopting a healthier lifestyle.
If a trend in the heart health of Minnesota residents is any indication, blood cholesterol levels nationwide may have dropped during the past decade. According to an article in this week's New England Journal of Medicine, the average cholesterol level of residents in Minneapolis and St. Paul went down 5 points during the 1980s.
For every 1 milligram decrease in serum cholesterol, then we do get a reduction in risk for mortality, that is death from cardiovascular disease. Well, in terms of a healthy cholesterol level, we usually say below 200.
The Minnesota Heart Survey looked at nearly 8,000 residents of the Twin Cities. On average, cholesterol levels went down 205 to 200 among men, and from 201 to 195 for women. Nutrition experts hope to see the trend continue nationwide.
That there has been a much greater awareness and interest by the physician community in changing cholesterol levels, looking at prevention strategies.
The study authors say changes in diet and exercise, and to some degree cholesterol-lowering drugs, were responsible for the drop in high cholesterol levels.
Medications are usually prescribed only after dietary treatment has failed or has not worked. The recommendations are for at least a 6-month trial of diet before medications are considered.
The Minnesota survey also found that among those with dangerously high cholesterol levels above 240, more than half were still unaware of their health problems. Yet there was an increase in the number of physicians who prescribe treatment for patients with high cholesterol.
So I think if this survey were done today, we would see an increase in the number of people who know their serum cholesterol level.
And as we move into the 90s, health experts continue to stress the importance of keeping everyone's cholesterol level below 200 by choosing a low-fat diet and healthy lifestyle.
And also on Health Matters tonight, left-handed people may not like the news coming from a new research project. The study says left-handed people have a shorter lifespan than right-handed people. The report says the average life expectancy for right-handers is 75, but only 66 for lefties. This comes from the New England Journal of Medicine. More accidents seem to occur among left-handers, but it's not their fault. It's our right-handed society. Power equipment and cars are designed for right-handed people. Some prominent lefties include President Bush, former Presidents Reagan, Carter, and Ford, and former Beatle Paul McCartney.
A bit earlier, we told you about a fire in Woodruff Place, a fire that has displaced 20 people and injured a 63-year-old man. It occurred in his unit, and he was given new batteries for his smoke detector just the day before, but refused to put them in. Having a working smoke detector can save your life in a fire. Joining us to talk about fire prevention safety is Tim Whitaker, the Fire Marshal of the Indianapolis Fire Department, also the Chief of the Fire Prevention Bureau. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Tim, you have stressed it. We in the media have stressed it. Are people just not getting the message about smoke detectors or just refusing to put them up?
Well, you know, this gentleman that was in the fire last night, the firefighters actually had him install that smoke detector back up in his apartment yesterday. And that's what alerted the neighbors to the fire last night. He started pounding on the door to try to get the man out, but he was already unconscious. So, you know, we just can't overemphasize the importance of not only installing the smoke detectors, but making sure you check and replace the batteries at least yearly.
Do you find that people are using them more often?
Yes, we're finding that in Indianapolis, in most of the areas, we're getting between 70 to 80%. But we're still having problem getting them up in some of the homes.
Do you think it's the force of law, which it is now law to have a detector up? Has passing that law made people do it?
Passing the law has saved a lot of lives, and it encourages people to voluntarily comply and not just badger them with the law. It's just for their own protection.
Where in your home should you place a smoke detector?
In Indianapolis, the first smoke detector should go outside of your bedroom area. You should have one smoke detector on each level, but the first one should go outside of your sleeping areas because most fatality fires, serious fires, occur between midnight and 6 a.m. in the morning.
Good information. Thank you for being our live guest tonight, Tim Whitaker.
Thank you.
Jim?
Well, caver Emily Mobley is seeing stars tonight after 4 days and nights at a place where there's no difference between day and night. She is back on the surface. Mobley was in a group exploring a deep cave in New Mexico's Carlsbad Caverns when she became trapped and broke her leg. It took almost 100 rescuers to get her out, and even they thought it would take yet another day to do it.
This one was tougher than most because she was so far back in the cave, and there were a lot of obstacles between where she was and the surface.
Although Mobley is still in some pain from her broken leg, she is taking the ordeal in stride.
But I'm fine, and I appreciate all the people caring about me.
Mobley's reported to be in good condition. She was 1,000 feet below the surface in a cave restricted to only expert cavers, which she was. She was part of a mapping expedition. Her rescue operation may cost an estimated $110,000 to be paid from an emergency federal fund. An Indianapolis doctor was consulted about the rescue efforts on Monday morning. Dr. Noel Sloan was contacted at Methodist Hospital. He's a caper. He's been one for 20 years. He conducts rescue seminars across the country, and he was asked if he had any specific medical recommendations in this case.
There was a physician that was in the caving party with her, and from the information that came out of the cave, it didn't appear there was anything that was going to be life-threatening or cause any great concern during the evacuation from the cave. And to be effective and really be maximally efficient during a cave rescue, you have to have a feeling and an understanding of the cave. You have to enjoy being in the cave and be able to work comfortably in that environment. And because of that, some of the most useful rescuers have to be cavers.
Dr. Sloan says all of the men and women participating in the rescue are volunteers. He adds, he knows Emily Mobley and many of her rescuers through the National Cave Rescue Commission, which he is Central Regional Coordinator of that.
Weather officials in Fort Wayne say they might have been able to put out a timely tornado warning last week if they had had Doppler radar. 2 people died as a tornado ripped through Steuben and DeKalb counties. The Weather Office issued only a severe thunderstorm warning because they didn't detect the wind patterns that signify a tornado. Officials say the area will have better weather protection after Doppler is installed.
Very important tool, expensive also.
Expensive,
so,
yes.
Bob Gregory,
well,
what have you got?
You know, it also illustrates the fact that anytime you've got a severe thunderstorm warning out there, too, that tornadoes can and they have developed out of that area, so we're not quite that precise yet. Just whenever severe weather is around, you should be alert. This, unfortunately, is the anniversary date of the disastrous super outbreak of tornadoes back in 1974. Over a 2-day period, there were a total of 148 tornadoes in 13 states. Most significant, of course, was the Monticello tornado in the northern part of the state. 24 people up in that area lost their lives, and that tornado stayed on the ground, I believe, for 121 miles. So very significant. You've got a much more pleasant situation coming up for the weekend. I'll share that with you here in just a second.
Great. Bob's AccuWeather forecast next on News Center 13 Primetime.
1 equals 1. Yes. Right now at Hardee's, 3 regular hamburgers equal $1. 6 burgers equal $2. 9 burgers, $3. And 12 burgers equal only $4. But 12 is the limit, so let's review. At Hardee's, 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals plus 1. But only for a limited time, so don't be tardy. Class, class, no running in the hall.
If you're one of those people who've been wishing the late news wasn't quite so late, we have some good news. Now there's a newscast created with your busy lifestyle in mind. News Center 13 Primetime at 10 o'clock with Tom Cochran and Ann Ryder. News Center 13 Primetime at 10 o'clock. We'll keep you up to date, not up too late. Weather watchers across Indiana are members of Bob Gregory's AccuWeather team, which carries the AMS seal of approval.
Bob has been making promises.
Oh, yeah. Well, the weather forecast always works out. It's just that the timing, you know, may flow there a little bit. Let's see. Bob Long over at Claremont's picked up 0.4 of an inch already. Let's see. Brian Wolf, one of our weather watchers, or younger weather watchers down in Trafalgar, said a little foggy out there, too. Indication of some things that may develop later this evening. But still a shower or two around. The more significant rain is off to the east, but slow improvement is headed our way. Temperatures on the plus side for the day. We remain in the 50s, however. We began with 50 degrees for a low, the 57-degree high. We're right now at 53 and reporting a little light drizzle out there, both at the airport. Our downtown temperature, by the way, is at 60 degrees, relative humidity at 100%, winds out of the southwest at 15, and the barometer 30, 15, and falling. See that north-south line of clouds off to the eastern part of the area through Indiana and Ohio, and underneath there's some showers, but back in the back door here, clearing, but it's still back in Iowa and Missouri. Some of that stuff eventually will get our way. Until that time, though, still some showers cutting their way through the state, showers up north, and then a scattered shower mostly off to the west. You look at our Weather Service radar now from the Indianapolis area, which this represents. Just some scattered pokes of showers there around will enlarge the metro area for you, but the more general area of really light rain continues to move off to the northeast at about 30 miles an hour. Here's what we'll look at tomorrow then as the day begins to improve. Jet stream flow will keep the chilly air up in the northern part of the Great Lakes region. What's going to happen, some of this moisture will slip off to the east. They really got hit down in Florida and the southeast today. Some of your friends vacationing down there, Hollywood, Florida, since yesterday, better than 4 inches of rain, so they probably didn't enjoy that. Big, significant area of high pressure and warmth will be moving our way. We're setting some records again today up into the Dakotas and up into the Duluth area. For us tomorrow, everybody will coast along in the 70s. There'll be a few more clouds as this system moves away toward the east, but all in all, sunshine will move in, have a nice flow, a drier atmosphere, so we'll really end up with a couple of great days out there. So if you have any outdoor work to take advantage of, tomorrow and the next couple of days and through the weekend will be it. This is our weather map then tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Low will be moving away. This area of high pressure will start to invade our area, providing some very nice temperatures for us, and as that thing moves out of the picture, we'll really warm it up over the weekend. So my forecast first for tonight, showers, and then skies should become partly cloudy later on. As we mentioned to you, though, there could be some fog develop in a couple of spots, so keep that in mind. 48 will be the low. Tomorrow then, partly to mostly sunny, a warmer day. 72 will be the high. Winds out of the south-southwest from 4 to 8 tonight. West-southwesterly 8 to 16 tomorrow. Mostly clear tomorrow night, 48. On Saturday, mostly sunny, 78 for a top temperature. If you don't like that, we'll go for 80 degrees on Sunday. These are very close to our record set for those days, by the way, which are 82 degrees. Then on Monday, we have another front coming through. We could kick up some thunderstorms and might have an active night on a Monday night, but we'll worry about that later on. We're still a long way off, maybe some showers on Tuesday. So that's not too bad, right?
Nice. Your timing is perfect.
I hope so, yeah. All right?
Okay,
see you
thanks.
Later.
Something for video lovers on tonight's Consumer Matters. It is finally here, a VCR with 2 decks for dubbing, called the Go Video VCR. It copies videotapes at the push of a button. Tonight, my Consumer Reports puts it to the test, though, with some surprising results.
On the surface, the Go Video looks like a video fan's dream come true. With its 2 decks, you can copy videotapes by simply pressing a button. No need for 2 separate VCRs and their messy connecting cables. The Go Video also lets you watch one tape while you tape another off the air. But this technology comes at a price, a hefty $1,000. Is it worth it? In recent tests, Consumer Reports found the Go Video had some big drawbacks. It doesn't have hi-fi sound, something standard on VCRs selling for half the price. And it comes with only one TV tuner, so you can tape only one program at a time, despite its 2 decks. Another drawback, the Go Video lacks important editing features like frame search and flying erase heads that make editing home videos easy. Even the Go Video's copies weren't any better than copies made by 2 mid-price VCRs hooked up together. And in some cases, there were problems. This test tape shows how the Go Video created ghost images around the subtitles. Consumer Reports advice, save your money. If you want 2 decks for dubbing, buy 2 mid-price VCRs. You'll get a lot more features for less money.
For information on the Go Video VCR test results, send a large stamped self-addressed envelope to Consumer Reports, Go Video VCR, P.O. Box 1313, Indianapolis, 46206. Jim, my guess is, like most of these electronic gadgets, with time, it'll get better and the price will come down, yeah.
I think a lot of what people want to copy a lot of times is the movie rentals that they get, the first-run movies. Can it do that?
You cannot do that. As a matter of fact, as a concession to the motion picture producers, Go Video agreed to make it impossible to pirate those videos on the machine. So, best advice, wait a while.
Okay. All right. Our World Update segment is coming up next with a late development coming from the Los Angeles Police Department.
And a U.S. senator is killed in a mid-air mishap in Pennsylvania. We'll have the latest from that scene.
Amazing Blue Star ointment stops itching fast. Jock itch, ringworm, psoriasis, tetter, and removes corns and calluses. Blue Star ointment, the one that's guaranteed. Ask for it.
Morning in Indiana. Some folks around here think it's the best time of the day. And a lot of those folks like to start their day with News Center 13 Sunrise. Every morning, Bruce Kopp, Linda Elsroff, Chuck Lofton, and Captain Casey bring you the latest news, weather, and News Center 13's exclusive helicopter traffic reports. Tomorrow morning, get your day off to the right start. Wake up to News Center 13 Sunrise. When you see news happening, call the exclusive News Watchers hotline at 639 News or Cellular One mobile hotline tip at *13.
I drive right by those burger stands, headed for Taco Bell, man, oh man, they got 3 great big menus. $59.79.99. Well, run for the border, spread the news. $59.79.99. Stop Taco Bell, 3 great menus.
The Fredder Price Challenge, an RCA camcorder. Sears price was $1049.99. Highland was lower, and Fredder's still lower. But at Fredder, you get a case, 10 tapes, and an extra battery. $150 in extras, absolutely free. So what do you get for the extra money you paid at Sears and Highland? Absolutely nothing. More proof. It's always better to shop at Fredder.
News out of the Middle East tonight in our World Update.
That's right. Iraq and the Iraqi government claims it has wiped out the last pockets of rebel resistance, getting the better of the Kurdish rebellion. Now Iraq is offering amnesty to the army deserters. Meantime, thousands of Kurds are fleeing to nearby Iran to escape the fighting. The Iranian news agency reports 1 million refugees have now pushed their way into western Iranian borders. Tehran is asking the United Nations and the Red Cross for help in taking care of those refugees. And the cost of the Gulf War will be one of the topics of discussion between President Bush and Japan's Prime Minister. The two are meeting in California to discuss economic issues. Japan's Prime Minister is concerned about negative reports regarding Japan's role in the Gulf War. During the meeting, President Bush will also bring up Japan's trade policies with the United States.
Elsewhere in the country, embattled Los Angeles Police Chief Daryl Gates says he'll fight rather than give in to demands that he resign. The city's police commission has ordered Gates to take a 60-day paid leave of absence in the wake of the videotaped beating of a crime suspect by L.A. police. While many have called for Gates to quit, others say he's the scapegoat. Gates said he had earlier said that he would not openly defy the commission if they did attempt to put him on leave pending outcome of the investigations. Indiana native astronaut Jerry Ross is watching the weather and the countdown clock tonight. He's a crew member of Space Shuttle Atlantis scheduled for liftoff tomorrow morning. It will be the 39th shuttle flight and the first of 1991, Atlantis will go into orbit with an observatory and a crew that would undertake the first U.S. spacewalk in 5 years. 2 of the astronauts will go outside the craft for 6 hours, testing equipment that would be needed to build and maintain a space station.
Reviving childhood memories is the focus of a concert this weekend by the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra. The concert, called The World of the Children, runs for 3 weekends beginning today. It's a chance for adults to reminisce about childhood through music. The concert is part of the Midwinter Festival, an annual event at the Circle Theater. The World of Children series begins at 7:30 tonight and runs until April 20th. What a treat.
Yeah. Coming up on News Center 13 Prime Time, are Central Indiana police really protected when they use a bulletproof vest?
We'll find out if bulletproof vests really are bulletproof. That's coming up in our Primetime update. Plus, Don Hein Sports next on Primetime.
Can a former porn star put her past behind her with a whole new start? On the next Entertainment Tonight, we've got the inside story on an X-rated actress who's trying to do just that.
I did it. I liked it. It's over.
Find out how she's cleaned up her old act and is now appearing in a hot new TV show with a strong kids audience.
I haven't had any mothers write in saying that they don't want their children watching me.
A porn star gone good. Get the inside story on Entertainment Tonight.
Thursday at 7:30 on WTHR.
So what do you think? Does this look like this?
You see, he did one of me. He's very gifted.
On the next People's Court, did this gifted young artist really goof up a portrait?
Mr. Holliday's just had several teeth extracted, so it's a little difficult for him to explain. But I was witness to this affair.
Well, who does this look like to you?
It was very strange.
Wait till you see what's so strange about it. Watch the next People's Court.
The People's Court, Friday at 4:30 on WTHR.
Don Hein, sports tonight.
Live and in color.
Yeah,
How you
and
guys
out of
doing?
breath.
Pretty good. And out of breath, yeah.
It's been a little wild.
Oh, yeah?
Good
Well,
to have
that's
you.
the way to be. How are you folks there tonight? Let me ask a little question here. How many times this year have our Pacers had a chance to really take advantage of a situation? Well, the answer is lots. One of those opportunities was last night. Philadelphia in with no Charles Barkley, no Rick Mahorn. However, there were no Pacers to be found. Now, Reggie spoke to that problem with Ronnie, huh?
I am coming to you from the neutral corner at a boxing match that's going to happen, the Golden Gloves. But Reggie has been coming out with some fighting words. He's been fighting with the media, fighting with other teams. But when Reggie talked to me today, he was taking jabs. Not jabs at the Pacers, not jabs at the media, just jabs to set the record straight. You wouldn't know it by his play, but the Pacers' Reggie Miller has been hurting, not physically, but mentally. He's been misunderstood and criticized for statements not meant to annoy, but rather spark up some enthusiasm.
It really hurt because a lot of it was going on when I was on the road in the West Coast. And I'm not going to say what newscast it was, but they kept taking pot shots at me, and I wasn't even around to defend myself.
What Reggie is referring to are some comments he made in reference to fan support.
Yes, I've been crying and bitching a lot about, the fans coming out, and there's no more high school basketball, there's no more college basketball, and we finally get a full house in here against Philadelphia, and we play like we play like we don't know how to act. And that really hurts me because I've been doing all this crying that we're playing better now, and I'm as much to blame as anybody because I was the one that was, complaining so much that we didn't have enough people in the audience to support us, and when we do, that's how we play.
Reggie is by no way putting down his fellow teammates. This guy wants to win, and win in Indianapolis.
It wasn't like I was trying to dog out Indiana or fans, because if I was really trying to dog out Indiana fans, I wouldn't have signed my contract. I just laid back and tried to see what kind of different offers, but I wanted to stay here because I like playing here.
It was nice to talk to Reggie because he set the record straight. Yeah, he took his jabs, but you know what, Don? If winning is a sin, then go ahead and get me too, because I want to win.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Ronnie, that's one of the things that I like about guys like Reggie Miller and Chuck Person. When something's on their mind, they'll tell you, and I think that's the way it ought to be.
Hey, they tell the right people, though, don't they, Doug?
Yeah. Okay, good job. We'll check you out later. You're going to talk boxing at 6, right?
Indeed.
All right, check you out later. A reasonable question to ask in this Pacers situation, if you know this is an important game, why doesn't the team react proportionally? Well, if you've ever played golf, I think you can answer your own question. You know exactly what you shouldn't do with this next shot, but you do it anyway. Sometimes the mind is a terrible thing with which to compete. Former Pacer Ron Anderson was as much of a reason why Philly won than anything. He had 23 first-half points, 27 overall. Reggie put the club ahead by a deuce in the fourth quarter, but they just couldn't stand prosperity. Jason Williams, excellent. Here's Michael Williams.
That was a tough loss. I still say we have 9 more games, and what we have to do is take one game at a time. If we win the next game, we'll be right back at that obstacle again, and this time we've got to jump over it just against a tougher opponent. Well, not really tougher, just different circumstances. We'll be on the road. But right now, the only thing we can do is think about Washington right now.
It really is true. Sometimes you just can't get through a lesser opponent, and really there are no lesser opponents in the NBA. Pacers home to the Washington Bullets tomorrow night. Now, we're going to keep our record clean of never having shown Warsaw's Sean Kemp do anything but a dunk. But these are a couple of keepers for you. Both came against Sacramento last night. The first one here is a runner and a throwdown as the Sonics beat the Kings. And the second is even a little more flashier than the first. I wonder if this kid ever took a jump shot. I know he did in high school, usually from about 25 feet. A big game for the Jazz against the Clippers as LA's Danny Manning faked out Thurl Bailey to get to the hoop. And you usually see Karl Malone, oh, that isn't Karl, put on the receiving end of a pass. Here's Blue Edwards. And the Jazz go on to win. Now, in just a minute, I'll have great highlights from the rest of the week. Nolan Richardson, the basketball coach at Arkansas, was getting some overtures from Tulsa. Remember that Richardson was very successful at Tulsa before he took the job with the Hogs. Well, he listened to the Golden Hurricane folks and decided that his career was better served staying at Arkansas, so he says that's what he'll do. Now, let's take you to Miami, last year's version of their Grand Prix. This is one of the premier stops on the IMSA Tour because of the setting. It's one that everyone wants to win, and as a result of that, you get some people making mistakes they should not. Watch this one coming up here. Whoa, but the driver got out of this one unscathed. The winner of last year's race, Noblesville's Jeff Brabham, seeking his 4th consecutive IMSA title. He likes the race.
They don't allow you too many mistakes, you know, and Miami is certainly no exception to that. But I think just the whole weekend's great, you know, where the track is situated, you know, downtown by the water there, and the people of Miami seem to really get behind the race, and it's just exciting.
Well, remember the other night I showed you some video of Tom Selleck playing first base for the Tigers in the Grapefruit League. Well, here's his first official, unofficial at-bat. The reason they're letting him do this, well, there are several reasons. First of all, because he's Tom Selleck, and then more importantly, he's getting ready for a baseball movie that'll be shot in Japan. His exhibition was highlighted by 3 foul balls off Tim Leana of the Reds, and he finally succumbed. The old whip right there. And the NBA highlights I promised you right here. This will take us right up to the feed bag.
10 seconds to shoot for LA.
Oh, beautiful feed to Scott from Magic Johnson.
going to end with Kevin Gamble. We'll see you at 6 o'clock with Mr. Fleming from the Pacers.
Okay. Well, on Primetime People tonight, another change for NBC's Today Show. First, Deborah Norville replaced Hoosier Jane Pauley. Now, Catherine Couric is replacing Deborah Norville. 34-year-old Katie Couric has been filling in on the morning show while Norville is on maternity leave. The show's ratings have steadily improved in the 5 weeks Norville has been off the air, and public reaction to Couric as co-anchor has been very positive. So NBC says she will stay on the show as a permanent co-host. Norville's next assignment with NBC remains uncertain. Each Thursday, we feature a Central Indiana child looking for a loving home. Tonight, Kim Hood's Thursday's Child segment brings us a wonderful success story.
When we first met Timmy and Danny last summer, they were living in separate foster homes, but their lives have changed dramatically for the better. Today, Danny and Timmy have been reunited in a permanent adoptive home. This is Donna and Timothy, their new parents.
How's this?
Donna and her daughter first saw a picture of the boys in the Sunday paper.
So we just started screaming. We go, these are the ones, these are the ones. And we didn't even finish breakfast. We ran back home and woke my husband and said, these are the boys we want. He's like, you're right. Like, they're going to give them to you. And I said, yes, they are.
It's something that I have always wanted to do, due to the fact that I was adopted. And I wanted to bring some joy to some, children's life.
You let go, does it go real fast?
Adopting the boys was not an overnight venture. They had to complete an adoptive parent course, and then Donna and Timothy began visiting Danny and Timmy. A few weeks later, the boys came home.
Especially if you get children that are not infants, they have their own little ways, their own little habits. You try to mold them into the ways that you want. So you have to be ready and patient and be ready for changes.
3 kids in all, Donna's daughter became an instant older sister. Timmy and Danny's story has a happy ending, but over 400 special needs children still wait to find loving parents. Most are normal and healthy kids ranging in age from infancy to adolescence. If you have love to spare, please call the Children's Bureau.
Be ready for the change in your life, because it does change your life. I mean, it changes tremendously. For the better.
Thursday's child has far to go. Kim Hood, News Center 13.
It's nice to see a follow-up like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's great.
And just ahead on News Center 13 Primetime, the tragic death of a U.S. senator. Plus, we'll show you the difference in bulletproof vests. You'll see why some are safe while others are not.
Plus, that tragic explosion and fire at Fort Benjamin Harrison in December takes another life. That story also ahead on Primetime.
Nobody beats Midas. Nobody. Here's why.
Your participating Central Indiana Midas dealers are now offering 25% off two-wheel alignments.
It's Lazarus 14-hour fine jewelry sale. Friday only. Save 40 to 50% on a great collection of fine jewelry. Come see our beautiful rings, necklaces, earrings, and bracelets. These 1-carat total weight diamond earrings, now $499. This blue topaz ring, just $249. And this sapphire and diamond ring, now only $199. Friday at Lazarus 14-hour fine jewelry sale.
Own a video camera? Think news. Enlist in News Center 13's Camcorder Corps and see your news video broadcast across Indiana. Write WTHR for details.
Ladies, does your family love duck a la ronde, but you just don't have the time?
Hi. Got a microwave?
Yes, but I don't use it. Now I have the Decorator 2000.
Great. Let's go, kids. Come on, let's go. Just cooking a Tony's microwave pizza. Couldn't wait to get home. Say, are we on TV?
Tony's, the pizza you can't wait to eat.
Operators are standing by.
Really?
Oh.
In our primetime update, Pennsylvania Republican Senator John Hein and 6 others die in a plane crash. 5 people, including Hein, were killed in 2 aircraft that collided in Pennsylvania. Officials on the scene believe debris falling out of a schoolyard killed an additional child and an adult on the ground. Another 5 people at a school where the planes collided and crashed were hurt. Officials escorted other children away from the scene. Minutes before, witnesses watched the 2 aircraft hit.
I saw the airplane and the helicopter were very, very low. And the airplane was a little above the helicopter.
and they didn't think they were going to hit each other at first, you could tell. And then as they got closer, the helicopter started to swerve back and forth. He started getting nervous, and he swayed into the bottom of the airplane. His propellers shot off, and the helicopter dropped right out of the sky, and the airplane exploded in the middle of the air.
In the wreckage, rescuers found a letter on Senator John Hein's stationery. Hines was serving his third term in the U.S. Senate. He was heir to the H.J. Heinz fortune. President Bush says Pennsylvania has lost a great leader with the death of Heinz. Today, Indiana Senator, U.S. Senator Richard Lugar, reacted with shock at the death of his Senate colleague. Senator Lugar called Heinz a man of enormous personal resources, characterized by a great compassion for the elderly and the needy.
Most Indianapolis police officers won't leave home without it. It is called soft body armor, better known as bulletproof vests. Are they safe? Well, government tests say they are. Glendale Jones has the story.
You're looking at what many police officers feel naked without. Soft body armor, a bulletproof vest. At IPD's indoor range, Sergeant Roger Bowser says he swears by the thing.
I have absolute confidence in this vest.
But are they safe? Do they save lives?
I also have personal knowledge of at least 5 officers in the last 6 months that have been saved from either death or serious injury in automobile accidents by wearing this vest.
The vests are put through tests by the federal government, which says some of the vests, namely the 5 models of the American body armor, aren't up to par. The Indianapolis Police Department uses these, the second chance models. It was a real safety test for this Florida officer.
It saved my life.
But this model isn't the most effective. This vest is the most effective, but it's not that practical. It weighs over 20 pounds, and most officers wouldn't wear it. But this is the vest that most officers do wear. In fact, 80% of the Indianapolis Police Department uses the second chance models. The SWAT team uses the other.
It stopped the round of ammunition that we used. It only penetrated 4 layers out of 18, even after being at least 5 years old.
That's good.
It's very adequate.
That's why many officers won't leave home without it.
Absolutely perfect. I couldn't ask for any better defense. There's the proof right there.
Glendale Jones, News Center 13.
The Indianapolis Police Department started using the second chance vest back in 1985. Sergeant Bowser says the owner of the vest tests their effectiveness by shooting himself with the vest on.
Around Indiana tonight, the explosion and fire last December at Fort Benjamin Harrison has claimed a second life. Officials at the fort say Sergeant Stoney Bell died last night at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. He died of injuries he suffered in that blast. The explosion destroyed one apartment building and damaged another building when gas from an abandoned line leaked from beneath the concrete slab. A 5-year-old girl was killed instantly in the explosion. Fort Benjamin Harrison says it will hold a memorial service for Bell next Wednesday.
Just ahead on News Center 13 Primetime, we'll tell you about a bizarre incident that has left investigators with very few clues. Police are trying to determine why someone stole a casket and body of an elderly woman from a West Side mausoleum. That's ahead. Also,
it may cost you more to buy your license plates. We'll explain that next on Primetime.
In the weather department, as we take a look at our Weather Service radar, still some showers. The more concentrated area of rain is off to the east of the metropolitan area. That continues to move in a northeast direction at 25 miles an hour. Showers will give way to some break in the clouds later on tonight, possibly some fog, and after that, well, I'll tell you more about that in the next half hour. You'll like it, okay?
Stay tuned to Primetime. Our top story at 6 is coming up.
And at 6:30, Tom Brokaw with NBC Nightly News comes your way. This is News Center 13 Primetime.
News Center 13 Primetime is closed caption for the hearing impaired. This is News Center 13 Primetime with Tom Cochran and Ryder, Bob Gregory's exclusive AccuWeather, and Don Hines Sports Team.
I'm Jim Condelles in for Tom Cochran tonight. It is a disturbing mystery. Tonight, detectives don't know who or why someone robbed an Indianapolis grave. That's tonight's top story.
The thieves were not after money, not after jewelry. They took a casket and they took the body inside. Rich Van Wyk picks up the story from there.
Grave robbers broke open a secluded mausoleum vault in the Floral Park Cemetery. They took a casket and the remains it contained of an elderly woman who died 6 years ago. The theft has stymied detectives and shocked members of the cemetery and funeral industry.
It's scary, and the thought of somebody doing that is scary.
Robert Brock is president of the Indiana Cemetery Association.
In Indiana, I have never heard of it ever happening. In the United States, I have never heard of it. Maybe on just a very rare occasion you may read about it.
Several years ago, grave robbers struck cemeteries in Hendricks County. The unearthing and desecration of human remains there was blamed on occult groups practicing satanic rituals. Investigators, though, doubt those groups are responsible for this recent theft.
This one just doesn't fit the pattern of a classic satanic or ritualistic occult grave robbery.
Though not working on this case, Sergeant Vogt studies the occult and Satanism. He assisted in the Hendricks County investigations. Most always, he says, the occult seek graves that are 75 to 100 years old in remote cemeteries where they can practice ritualistic rites. Taking a casket and the whole body is almost unheard of.
You'll see them taking either the skull because it represents the persona of the person or the spirit of the person, or you'll see them taking bones from the left arm or the left hand.
Robbing this grave would take several people. Teenagers, perhaps, detectives say, out for a thrill. But they may never know for sure. Before calling the police, the cemetery cleaned up the area and resealed the vault, in the process destroying clues the thieves may have left behind. Rich Van Wyck, News Center 13.
That robbery took place sometime between Tuesday and Friday of last week. Investigators say the woman's relatives live out of state. Jim.
And there is an anti-cult movement, an active one, in the metro area. Tonight at 7, the group Families Against Cults plans to protest a psychotherapist convention at the Holiday Inn North. The group claims the therapists celebrate witchcraft and the occult. A 17-year-old North Central High School student is accused of attempted murder, and he could stand trial in adult court in the savage attack on his girlfriend. Jordan Weaver faces a number of felony charges in the rampage that began Tuesday night at the Alverna retreat. The incident left Wendy Walderman seriously injured. A witness, 64-year-old Jerome Sweeney, suffered a fatal heart attack during the incident. There'll be a hearing in 2 weeks on whether to move the case to adult court. Weaver is also facing charges of confinement, burglary, and resisting arrest.
Tension is running very high tonight on the picket lines outside the Indianapolis Coca-Cola plant. Police are investigating a drive-by shooting against striking workers there. They are searching for the person who fired pellets at the plant and at a van shortly before 3 this morning. Yesterday, a striker told authorities he was hit by a Coca-Cola truck driven by supervisory workers. Speedway police have increased patrols in the area. Drivers at the Coke plant have been striking since Monday when they walked off the job in a contract dispute. A plea by the Marion County prosecutor for more information about a suspected and charged child molester is resulting in a number of phone calls. Kevin Kirby has 35 counts of child molestation filed against him. Prosecutor Modisett says Kirby's work as a volunteer in youth groups tells him there are more parents or children with information about Kirby's activities. The local chapter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association confirms Kirby was a volunteer, but says that he was given authority directly by a family to take care of their child. The whole issue of child abuse by adult volunteers is something that groups like the Boy Scouts are now forced to examine.
We do our very best to screen out these situations, but if you don't take some risk, you can't maintain the program. What we have to have is procedures which make it as likely as possible that these opportunities will be few and far between. Which was,
the Boy Scouts, for the first time, have a part of their handbook devoted to recognizing and reporting child abuse. And they've also produced a videotape, which is available to all organizations for $15.
The two men who want to be Marion County prosecutor are making their last stands before an election recount commission. 5 months of battling over ballots could be drawing to a close. The News Center's David McAnally is live at the City County building with the latest. David?
Lawyers for Democratic prosecutor Jeff Modisett and Republican challenger Drew Young have just completed their final arguments before the commission. Basically, Young's lawyer, John Hoover, says there was misconduct at the polls that allowed people to vote illegally.
Argument that the caption of an act is to...
There's many examples of voters who signed in an address where they did not live in order to vote.
and they lived out of the precinct. There's examples of voters who signed in the address where they lived, but that address was not in the precinct where they voted. Many examples of precinct election officials who knew that a particular voter should not vote in the precinct, but the voter was allowed to vote anyway.
But Montecit's lawyer, Ed Delaney, says Young only wants to throw out the votes from Democrat districts and is not applying the same rules to precincts he won.
If you do as Mr. Young says and selectively apply the law in selective precincts, you are going to send a very bad message to the voters. And that message will be that elections are a game in which what happens after the election is important.
Those are the competing arguments the commission will have to weigh. It is going to hold one more public session and actually deliberate in public. That's because there's a split on the commission. One of the members, Robert Wagner, the Democrat, says he finds nothing in the law that actually allows the commission to do anything but recount the votes. He says there is no latitude in there for the commission to point to that would let it make rules on law and the like. So that could be an interesting mix-up, or rather mixing of the gloves at the next meeting. Back to you, Jim.
Okay. David McAnally live at the City County Building. Ann.
The price you pay for Indiana license plates may go back up. House Democrats have put forth a plan to suspend the auto excise tax cut that went into effect January 1st. Bill Hussung reports Democrats are proposing the money go to Indiana schools.
The proposal to suspend the auto excise tax cuts was offered as an amendment to the Hoosier Lottery Commission budget. The move caught Republicans on the House Ways and Means Committee by surprise.
And clearly, sure that everybody in this table understands that what we're doing is we're raising the taxes on automobiles again next year. And I think that's what, I just want to make sure I got that clear in my mind before it's suspended.
Democrats on the committee say the move will provide $80 million a year for Indiana schools. Under the proposal, the cuts will be reinstated when the economy improves. Republicans say that's a tax hike. Democrats disagree.
It is the ending of a tax cut for just 1 year because they have paid what they did not pay for 1 year for many years because the Republicans put that into law.
Confused? Well, Representative Bill Cochran proposed the amendment. Is it a tax hike?
Probably so. Let's call it a tax increase. It's a tax delay. It's an increase with a delay.
But I don't think any taxpayer ever believes a politician who says that we're going to increase your taxes on a temporary basis. I think it'll be a permanent increase. I think it's a complete reversal.
Governor Bai has made avoiding a tax increase his #1 priority this session. So are House Democrats out of sync with the governor? The governor himself declined comment on the issue.
That's really not his concern right at the moment. He's going in a different direction and looking for another solution. He has not made he has no position on this matter.
The proposal to suspend the auto excise tax cuts next goes to the full House. The governor's press office has now issued a clarification of the governor's position, saying the governor is opposed to the delay because he says it's not necessary. The somewhat confused response from the governor's office would appear to be further evidence that House Democrats did act on their own this morning and not at the governor's direction. Yeah?
Bill, what do you think the governor means when he says he doesn't feel this is necessary?
Well, as we've been saying for weeks, the governor is working on 4 proposals that he says will free up additional money for education. He says if those proposals are put forth and acted on and acted upon, this money will not be necessary, and thus he would veto a proposal to suspend the auto excise tax cut.
We expect to hear his proposal soon.
Early next week.
Okay, thanks.
The American Freedom Coalition today honored 4 Vietnam veterans during a ceremony at the State House. The men were honored in an effort to show unity among veterans of all wars. The coalition presented citations to 6 Indiana lawmakers as well who have relatives who served in Operation Desert Storm. The American Freedom Coalition works to promote what it calls family values and a strong U.S. defense.
Jim, the flags are flying at half-staff on Capitol Hill and at Pennsylvania's state capitol tonight following the tragic death of Senator John Hein. He was among 7 people killed in a helicopter plane collision over suburban Philadelphia today. Burning wreckage from the crash fell into a schoolyard during recess, killing 1 child and adult.
There's a big rumble, and this boy in our class, he said, fire, and our teacher said, it's probably nothing. And then we heard Dr. Gold say, go out a door in the back of the near the playground. And we went through it that way, and by the door there were these pieces of fire that were about like 3 inches.
The cause of the crash is still under investigation. Most children were in class and not outside when the accident occurred. School officials say that if it would have happened 15 minutes later, 400 children would have been in that schoolyard. Senator Hines was an heir to the Hines food empire. The 52-year-old Republican was elected to the Senate in 1976.
After spending 4 days trapped in a cave, now the worst is over for a veteran caver. Injured caver Emily Davis Mobley says she's wonderful now that she's out of a huge cave in New Mexico. She yelled and broke into song this morning when she emerged from the cave where she'd been trapped since Sunday. The 40-year-old woman was taken to a local hospital. She had a broken leg, and she is described as being in good spirits.
And very resilient. When Primetime continues, we'll update you on the Circle Center project. The billion-dollar mall gets a financial shot in the arm. Tonight's cover story looks at what that means for the project.
And when the doors finally do open to Circle Center, will L.S. Ayers be one of its anchors? You might be surprised at the answer.
In the weather department, we have some rain. All that will be leaving overnight, though, and this is just a preview of some of the temperatures that you'll enjoy throughout the weekend. We'll begin with a very nice warming trend. Here's a look at the high temperatures for tomorrow. We'll add a little bit more for Saturday, and maybe even still warmer on Sunday. Complete story coming up.
This is a Car Buyer's Bulletin. For the next 5 days only, 151 NCAA Oldsmobiles will be sold at drastically reduced prices. These Cutlass Supremes, 98 custom cruisers and silhouettes, supplied by the Hoosier Olds family to the officials and retired coaches of the NCAA, have been driven only a few miles. The full factory warranty is still in effect. 5 days of drastic price reductions on 151 NCAA Oldsmobiles. This sale will not be repeated or extended. Cars are available now, only at your Hoosier Olds family.
Find it tough to stay up for the late news? Starting April 7th, watch News Center 13 Primetime at 10 o'clock. We'll keep you up to date, not up too late.
Thank you, I am well. I've been exercising a lot and reading a lot of good books.
Find it tough to stay up for the late news?
Well, you've always underestimated me.
Starting April 7th, watch News Center 13 Primetime at 10 o'clock. We'll keep you up to date, not up too late.
Because of you, we're so proud, and the voices in the crowd, we welcome home. Welcome home. From 13 WTHR, welcome home.
PSI's commitment toward environmental values can be seen in many areas. And quite often, the benefits go beyond the environment. PSI's joint recycling effort with Goodwill Industries of Central Indiana is good for business. It provides worthwhile employment and training for some Indiana workers who have disabilities. The environment and the people it affects. Over 4,000 PSI employees making sure tomorrow isn't just another day, but a better day.
You're watching News Center 13 Primetime. Proud to be selected as the best newscast in Indiana by the Associated Press.
If and when the proposed Circle Center project opens its doors in downtown Indianapolis, L.S. Ayers won't be a part of it. Ayers was to have been one of the mall's anchor stores, but Mayor William Hudnut says tonight the store won't be a part of that project. The closing of the Ayers Tea Room and recent cutbacks are seen as a sign that the downtown store is hurting financially. Circle Center planners say they plan to go right ahead with a $1 billion project without Ayers. Despite the fact Ayers won't be a part of the project, it has taken another big step forward with financing.
That's right. 12 major Indiana firms have agreed to invest in the $1 billion Circle Center Mall project. Bruce Kopp has reaction to the deal in tonight's cover story.
The gaping holes downtown have become all too familiar. But today, Mayor Hudnut, headed off for a weekend vacation to San Francisco, welcomed word that some big corporate players plan to put up $50 million.
What it means is that a broad base of the community's corporate leadership has given a vote of confidence to the future of the mall.
Among the firms agreeing to invest, Eli Lilly's retirement plan, Indiana Bell, American States Insurance, the Associated Group, Conseco, and Marsh Stores. The city's big three banks are in on the deal. Merchants, INB, and Bank One are among the dozen companies that have been looking down into these construction holes for the past year. The way the arrangement would work, the $50 million investment would provide the leverage to obtain another $65 million. That money would then get the first phase of construction underway. For some merchants, the construction has strangled off business. The popular Indiana news store is hurting because there are few places to park.
I drive around the block, you know, 2 or 3 times, and they get tired, which I don't blame them. On the weekends when I don't work, I used to come downtown all the time to come here and go to Ayers. I don't even come downtown anymore.
I would like to see more retail downtown.
If they give free parking, that's the key.
You have to pay to park, and the mall still got that beat. The parking, you know, you come down here, you get tickets.
You know, as they say, you can't make an omelet without scrambling some eggs.
Construction on the mall is set to begin this fall. With completion set for 1993, city leaders say the latest deal should remove all doubt that important backers no longer view the project as simply a money pit. Bruce Kopp, News Center 13.
Bob says we're in for double S's, sunscreen and short sleeves. The AccuWeather forecast coming up.
And what happened to the Pacers last night? Don Hein talked with Bren Fleming later on Primetime. Or Burn, I should say.
With the Oldsmobile Toronado's advanced engine and suspension, some look at it solely as a driver's car. And with a tastefully refined interior like this, some look at Toronados solely as a personal luxury car. But they all agree with Toronado's uncommon design. They just like to look at it, period.
How can you tell when you need help with a troubled child? Look for warning signs, like uncontrollable hyperactivity, fits of anger and violence, aggression, overwhelming sadness, problems at school. If you think your child is in trouble, Charter can help. We offer real solutions to your family's problems.
Take steps now to help someone with an emotional problem. Call Charter Hospital. If you don't get help at Charter, please get help somewhere.
A former porn star is cleaning up her old act and is now appearing in a hot new TV show. The Inside Story is only on Entertainment Tonight.
Thursday at 7:30 on WTHR. Cosby is moving.
What?
The Cosby Show is moving beginning
April 7th.
No, Bill. Close. Beginning April 8th.
All right.
Join the fun. The Cosby Show. Now at 6:30 p.m. Beginning April 8th.
All glasses change how you see. No one can change how you're seen like Dr. Tavel. You can be a good sport, or take care of business, have a night on the town, hit the books hard, or find your place in the sun. Many looks for every mood from the area's largest frame selection. Buy a pair now, get a second pair for $1. 2 pairs of glasses in about an hour from Dr. Tavel. 1-hour glasses without the 1-hour price.
Weather watchers across Indiana are members of Bob Gregory's AccuWeather team, which carries the AMS seal of approval.
If this is the price we pay for a great weekend, consider it paid.
Yeah, well, all good. You got to have a little rain there to get everything soaked up, as we mentioned to you, and let the fertilizer go to work there. If you haven't put any down, maybe this is a weekend to have at it anyway. I've had about 1/3 of an inch of moisture downtown. Bob Long over in Claremont, 4300ths, just over 1/4 of an inch out at the airport so far. For Indianapolis, 2700ths. There you look at a rainy interstate as folks are still heading home at this hour. 50 was our morning low, and the high actually occurred in the morning. That was 57 degrees as well. We're 54. There's light rain going on at the airport, and as you can see, downtown in the inner loop area as well. We've got 10 degrees more on our thermometer, though. 96% the humidity. Winds out of the south at 14. Barometric pressures at 30.15. That's been steady for the past couple of hours. Causing our rain showers now, an area of low pressure in a front just to our west. That will very slowly continue to move off toward the northeast. ahead of this front, and then some showery weather, very rainy, and thunderstorms down in Florida in the earlier part of the day, several spots with over 2 inches of rain. Area of high pressure will move away. This will continue to move on out to the east, and as it does, the absence of clouds out here, a vastly improving situation. This is our Saturday, Sunday, and on into Monday anyway. All the rain shield and the showers moving away. Other heavy amounts of rainfall out in the far northwestern part of the country as well. There you can see the showers moving away. Some thunderstorms down in Texas, some hail. There are no severe weather watches out. What our Weather Service radar is showing at the present time, most of the precipitation is off to the east of the metro area, and then other just patchy spots of showers. That'll be it probably till midnight. Tomorrow, though, sunshine will go to work. Temperatures for the most part through the state will run through the 70s. We take a look at this now for you with mid-70s down in the southern part of the region, right up to 70, the cool spot 69 degrees in Fort Wayne. Here's what the weather map will show tomorrow night now. High pressure start to build into the nation's midsection. That's our insurance marker, really for a couple of days of some great weather. Out in the Pacific Northwest, showers, very windy conditions will continue there as that system slowly makes its way toward the east. But all in all, from now on till late on Monday, the way we think now, we should be just in a great weather situation. My forecast for tonight, showers will continue to move away for us and lessen somewhat. Should be over with by midnight. We'll call it partly cloudy in the sky department. Those will break up, and where that breakup does occur, skies clear some. There can be some fog develop, so that should be watched out for later tonight and first thing tomorrow morning. Our overnight low will come in at 48. Then we'll call it partly to mostly sunny tomorrow. 72 degrees with a west-southwest wind 8 to 16. Mostly clear, 48 tomorrow night's low, and as we begin the weekend on Saturday, 78 for a high, 80 degrees on Sunday. That's right near the records of 82. And then on Monday, still a warm one, but late in the day as a front comes at us, could have some showers and thunderstorms around, and then behind the front, cooler weather for Tuesday. But get out and enjoy it between now and early on Monday, all right?
Great.
See you at 11.
We would like to tell you about a breaking story in Sacramento, California. 4 armed men are holding about 3 hostages in an electronics store. We understand that this started as a robbery attempt, is now a hostage situation, and there has been a burst of gunfire. We'll update you. Plus, Tom Brokaw comes your way right after our news with an update on that story.
And still ahead on Primetime, the sports team with the 3 Bs, basketball, baseball, and boxing.
And guess who's in and who's out on the Today Show? We'll have the story next on Primetime.
Farming has always been a hands-on kind of business, but the makers of Counter have changed that. Introducing new Counter Lock and Load, the outstanding performance of Counter in convenient returnable containers. When locked onto specially fitted John Deere Maximerge hopper boxes, each sealed container opens automatically. Just lock it on and it loads. Protect your crop, yourself, and the environment. New Counter Lock and Load.
Thank you, I am well. I've been exercising a lot and reading a lot of good books.
Find it tough to stay up for the late news?
Well, you've always underestimated me.
Starting April 7th, watch News Center 13 Primetime at 10 o'clock. We'll keep you up to date, not up too late. Some people will do anything to stay up for the late news. Starting April 7th, watch News Center 13 Primetime at 10 o'clock. We'll keep you up to date, not up too late. Last year, 1 in 10 American women were diagnosed with breast cancer. More than 44,000 women died of the disease, and many of these women and their families suffered unnecessarily. Join Felicia Rishad and Jane Pauley for Once a Year for a Lifetime as they inform you of the importance of early detection and the myths behind breast cancer. WTHR TV and St. Vincent's Hospitals are proud to sponsor Once a Year for a Lifetime, Saturday at 1 p.m. Morning in Indiana. Some folks around here think it's the best time of the day. And a lot of those folks like to start their day with News Center 13 Sunrise. Every morning, Bruce Kopp, Linda Elsroth, Chuck Lofton, and Captain Casey bring you the latest news, weather, and News Center 13's exclusive helicopter traffic reports. Tomorrow morning, get your day off to the right start. Wake up to News Center 13 Sunrise. News Center 13 Primetime is broadcast live on these outstanding radio stations across Indiana.
Hi again, everyone. Our Pacers with a chance to tie for a playoff clinch last night and go over 500, lost by 4 to a dismantled Philadelphia 76er team. But former Pacer Ron Anderson was there for the opposition and promptly threw in 27-23 first half. Now, Detlef and Reggie got together on this one, but Vern says we just did a mind job on ourselves again.
I think we got off in the first quarter to a bad start. You know, teams get into a letdown when they see that they're going to play with a lesser team, you know, the main starters out the game. And in some situations, I'd rather see them play because we usually play better when we go against a better opponent.
Now, another one of those teams the Pacers should beat, Washington, is at Market Square tomorrow night at 7:30. Take a peek. One can easily tell it's playoff time in the National Hockey League with plays like this from the New York Rangers' Jan Eriksson. This is one of 2 Ranger goals against Washington, and they were enough to beat the Caps in Game 1. And, oh, that's great, isn't it? The final there was 2-1. Ronnie, we just wanted to make sure the folks knew from our 5 o'clock show that Sean Kemp is from Concord and Rick Fox is from Warsaw. Got that straight? Take it away in the ring.
Well, we know both of them are fine basketball players. We're here at Tyndall Armory. This is going to be the site of third-round action of the Golden Gloves of Indiana. And, of course, a guy who has won the Golden Gloves of Indiana several times on many is Champ Chaney. How old are you, guy? Because you're in great shape.
6 or 7 years old. Very good condition, ready to go again.
Now, you guys have won this thing time and time again. You are the coach and manager of these amateur boxers. Can you win it again? That has to be the big question, and can you get excited about it all?
That makes it great because competition is great, and that's what makes it great, and I love it.
You love it. I tell you what, I love having you as a friend, too. I'm never going to get in the ring with you, only to hug you, but not to fight you.
I saw you fight one time, and I was finished with you then.
Don Champ Chaney. Don't forget tonight at 11 o'clock we'll have highlights of what's been happening here at the Golden Gloves. I don't want to fight this guy. Too good.
Ronnie, a quick one. Ask Champ, was it 48 when he was the #1 challenger heavyweight?
Was it 48 when you were the #1 challenger at heavyweight?
I was #3 contender for the heavyweight championship of the world, and Joe Lewis was champion in 1948.
Very good.
And I did not get an opportunity to fight for the championship when Joe Lewis retired the same year, but Walcott and Eddie Shaw fought for it, and then it went on down the line, and finally I won 14 fights during that time, and I still didn't get that chance. So I decided I'd try to develop some world champions, so I've been fortunate enough to do so. I have Marvin Johnson and J.B. Williams become world champion from here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay, Jim, you got a really awful. All right, Don.
As if you didn't know, that is my time right now. We'll see you at 11 o'clock.
That pretty much gets it.
That caught it.
Well, an update for you. Apparently getting pregnant was a good family move, but a bad career move for Deborah Norville. NBC says Catherine Couric will replace Norville as co-host of the Today Show. It was announced today. Couric, who's 34 years old, has been filling in as co-anchor since Norville went on maternity leave in mid-February. The ratings have steadily improved since she's been on. It's permanent now.
Thanks, Katie. And that's our edition of Prime Time for tonight. Thanks for spending a part of the evening.
Nightly news next.